of these people over here will say something. I got to get the middle group to say something. Let's try the middle group. Good evening. Good evening. All right. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Lee County School District Annual African American Heritage Celebration. The theme this year's observance is African Americans and the Vote. This coincides with the 150th anniversary of the 15th Amendment, which gave African American men the right to vote, and the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. Tonight's theme is particularly timely as African Americans face voter suppression laws in more than 30 states that are aimed at black voters as well as women, the poor, rural, and elderly voters. Are you ready for our talented student performances? Yes. Okay. We'll have a welcome by Your Highness gathers a 4th grade student at Dennis Elementary School. Your Highness.
Dr. Wanda Andrews, Superintendent, school board members, administrators, teachers, students, and all of our guests, welcome. My name is Your Highness Gathers, and I attend Dennis Elementary School, where our principal is Mr. Ricky White. It is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you here tonight. We are delighted to have you with us to participate and share in our African American Heritage Celebration. Our theme is African Americans and the Vote. Tonight we pause to remember and learn those stories that are all around us about the commitments and sacrifices of our African American heroes who gave us the right to vote and served important roles in politics. We hope that each of you draws inspiration and motivation from our performances. Thank you for coming out to support us tonight. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Again, welcome.
Thank you, Your Highness. Now we'll have a prayer by Olivia Sting, 8th grade student at Lee Central Middle School. Olivia.
Let us pray. Our Father, who is the creator of all things in the heavens above and in the earth below, we thank you for allowing us to assemble here in love and unity. May your goodness and love be present amongst us today. Our prayer is that your will be done through our African American Heritage Celebration. As the election season approaches, we seek to better understand the issues and concerns that confront our city, state, and country. Your work compels us to respond as faithful citizens in our community. We ask you to inspire us and guide us as we participate in our upcoming elections. We seek a government that upholds and protects human rights and justice for all its citizens, regardless of race, class, gender, or religion. Move and inspire us by your presence among us. Help us to realize that Black history is all our history. Take what we have prepared and multiply our efforts as only you can. Strengthen our voice, empower us. We ask all this in your glorious name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Olivia. Now, Rihanna Stuckey, 5th grade student at Wesley Elementary School, join me on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of colors by the Lee Central High School JRT Color Guard. The Color Guard is under the direction of Major Cobb. The Color Guard members are Cadet Major Rhea Buffkin, Cadet Major Tevin Hickman, Cadet First Lieutenant Kelvante Wilson, Cadet Sergeant Serene Thomas. Please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Rihanna. Host.
Gary, color. Forward, heart, No. Right, no. Mark, no. Mark. Color guard, oh. No, face. Freeze it, on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, on. Hold. Right, face. Forward, mark. Mark time. Mark. Color guard. Oh. Follow.
You may be seated. Thank you, Ron, and the JROTC Color Guard. Now we'll have the purpose for our program by Jordan Rufus, 4th grade student at Lower Lee Elementary School. Jordan Rufus.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Rufus. I am a 4th grade student who attends Lower Lee Elementary School, where the principal is Mrs. Sheila Stoops, and our motto is Learners Leading Through Excellence. Lee County School District is honored to celebrate African American history. The year 2020 marks the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment and the culmination of women's suffrage movement. The year 2020 also marks the 150th anniversary of the 15th Amendment. 1870, and the right of black men to the ballot after the Civil War. We have celebrated the rights of black elected and appointed officials at the local and national levels, campaigns for equal rights, legislation, as well as the roles for blacks in traditional, alternative, and political parties. This month we have understand that our votes and voice matter. I say again, our voice and votes matter. We enjoy the performance of each of our Lee County District schools. These performances honor the history and struggles of our ancestors. Enjoy.
Your voice matters, just like Jordan Rufus said. Now it's a pleasure to bring to the stage our sensational Lee Central High School and Lee Central Middle School combined chorus, who next month will be traveling to perform at Carnegie Hall in New York City. They are directed by Mr. Jarvis Jett.
Mic check, 1, 2, there we go. Mr. Christopher Tony, give him a round of applause. Mr. Adrian Quinn, Mr. Lonnie Span, and Mr. Tajir out.
when the glory comes, it'll be ours, it'll be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh,
Glory,
they raising their hands, so we gotta stop the silence. We all black men, so we gotta stop the violence. Put the guns down, let's stop the mothers of crime. People dying every day, that's so terrifying. They tell us put the weapons down, then they beat us on our back and tell us get to stepping. But listen to these rhymes, youngin', I'm finna teach you a lesson. We all black and in power and we all so blessed. I'm so tired of people dying, stop putting these Negroes to rest. Gotta get this off of my chest. I swear we all so blessed. One day, and when the glory comes, it'll be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, oh,
now the war is not over, victory is won, and we fight on to the finish. Then when it's all done, we cry glory, oh glory, glory, so much pain in my body, we can walk on. So much pain in my body, we can walk on. So much pain in my body, we can walk on. So much pain in my body, we can walk on.
we struggle through pain in life. You lose a lot, sometimes you never gon' gain. And friends, they ain't your friends, they just acting that way. And no, you give them something, but for you they gon' change. Stormy nights, power out, we all been stuck in them days. Hitting legs, selling bricks, where I was making some plays. But thank God, I'm on this earth, it's time to go make a change. And no, I ain't no gangster, I'm just trying to relate.
So much pain in my body, we can walk on. So much pain in my body, we can walk on. So much pain in my body, we can walk on. So much pain in my body, we can walk on. Family, family, family.
This is a let's make a deal, so we'll get ready to get started. So y'all say, what's behind the curtain number one? All right, let's recognize some great people first. Our board members that are here, please stand. Our board member, please stand. Our superintendent and district cabinet, let's give them a round of applause. Our principals that are here, our principals are around, please stand. Our principals. Also, all of our faculty and staff members. Last time I forgot to recognize secretary and bus drivers, and I got beat up in the back. So, bus drivers, secretaries, Ms. Rogers, all faculty and staff, teachers, all of them. That's okay. All right. I also would like to thank all of our parents. Our parents, please stand if you be recognized. All of our parents, aunts and uncles, cousins, people that did it right, everybody. All right. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you. Thank you. We also also like to thank Mr. Turner and his staff. You saw Mr. Turner give me a hand there. We thank his staff for having opening their school for us to use today, the auditorium, and make sure everything was in order. Also, Mr. Wilson, who's done the beautiful decorations here and in the cafeteria. We also like to thank Ms. Shirley Joe and her staff. They fed all of our students before, and they have refreshments for you after the presentation. Also, Mr. Patterson and the media literacy team, Ms. McDonald and Ms. Jones are here also helping with all the audio, visual, and logistics. Now we will have our Lee County School District schools presentations. Each school has been working hard on their performances under the direction of the African American Heritage Celebration School representatives. We thank them for their tireless work and dedication. Our first performance tonight will be from Wesley Elementary School, Home Phoenix. The principal is Dr. Veronica Bradley. The motto is where learning is incredible. Let's hear it from Wesley Elementary School.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom.
Hello and welcome to the Wesley News Press Conference. Today we will hear from 10 women who were trailblazers who broke racial and gender barriers of the House of Representatives. Stay tuned.
I am Shirley Chisholm. I am the first black woman elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. I also became the first black person from a major party to make a run for the White House. I am Shirley Chisholm.
I am Yvonne Bathway Burke. I am a lot of firsts, including being the first Congresswoman to give birth and be granted maternity leave while in office. I am Yvonne Bathway Burke.
I am Barbara Jordan. I am the first black woman to be elected to Congress from the Deep South and the first black person to deliver a keynote speech at the Democratic National Convention. I am Barbara Jordan.
I am Curtis Collins. I choose to continue the legacy of my husband, Representative George Collins. Even though I had no political experience, I became one of the longest serving minority members in Chicago history. I am Curtis Collins.
I am Katie Hall. I am the first black female from Indiana to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives. I am Katie Hall.
I am Barbara Rose Collins. I was a champion for the city's poorest neighborhoods, and I passionately opposed President Clinton's crime bill. I am Barbara Rose Collins.
I am Eva Clayton. I am the first black congresswoman representing the state of North Carolina. I helped organize a campaign to encourage African Americans to become homeowners. I am Eva
am Carrie Meade. I'm the first black person to represent the state of Florida. Since the Reconstruction era, when I decided not to continue on in politics, my youngest child decided to build upon my legacy. I am Carrie Meade.
I am Denise Majette. I am the first black woman from Georgia to secure a nomination for U.S. Senate. Even though I lost the general election, I am Denise Majette.
I am Cynthia McKinney. I am the first black woman from Georgia to be elected to the House. I am Cynthia McKinney.
Oh, freedom.
Let's hear it for Wesley Elementary School.
Silas bound to jail, had no money for the golden maid. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Our next performance will be by Dennis Elementary School. We'll let them get settled.
Eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on. Golden Silas begin to shout.
Our next performance will be from Dennis Elementary School, home of the Tigers. The principal is Mr. Ricky White. The motto for Dennis Elementary School, everyone counts, every moment matters. Let's hear it for Dennis Elementary School.
When did African Americans get voting rights? African Americans were given voting rights on August 6, 1965. Many African Americans were denied the rights to vote for 80 years after the abolishment of slavery.
When did African Americans become a minority group? Although African Americans were being brought over to this country for a very long time, they did not become a minority group until slavery ended roughly around 1928. Mexicans gained their label of a minority group around 1990 to the year 2000, where their numbers began to quickly rise.
What did African Americans do to get the right to vote? Although blacks won the right to vote, certain legislators hit back by passing so-called Jim Crow laws. These segregationist laws were used to exploit, to limit black civil rights and to institutionalize segregation. They were used to disenfranchise blacks and prevent them from voting.
The 15th Amendment to the Constitution to guarantee that black African American men have the right to vote in the United States of America by declaring that citizens have the vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any other states by race, color, or by previous conditions or servitude.
Your vote matters. This is your voice. Thomas Mundy Peterson, the first African American voter. Thomas Mundy Peterson was a school custodian from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, where he was the first to vote in the United States as a result of the 15th Amendment. He kept his historical vote on March 31st, 1870, one day after the ratification of the amendment. Your vote matters. This is your voice.
As African American men gained the right to vote between 1866 and 1869, Sojourner Truth feared that colored women would be forgotten. In her address to the American Equal Rights Association in 1867, she said, "I have a right just as much as a man. There's a great stir about colored men getting their rights, but not a single word about colored women."
Your vote matters. This is your voice. The Voting Rights Act of 1965, signed into law by Lyndon B. Johnson, aimed to overcome legal barriers at the state and local level that prevented African Americans from exercising their rights to vote as guaranteed under the 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. The Voting Rights Act is considered as one of the most far-reaching pieces of the civil rights legislation in U.S. history. Your vote matters. This is your voice. Your vote matters. This is your voice. Your vote matters. This is your voice.
Thank you, Dennis Elementary School. Let's hear it again for Dennis. Our next performance will be from Lee Central Middle School, home of the Stallions. The principal is Ms. Patrice Holmes. Their motto is Imagine If. Let's hear it for Lee Central Middle School.
In 1870, I became the first African American to serve in Congress as a Republican senator, representing the state of Mississippi in Library of Congress, Prints and Photograph Division. I am High Rebels.
I was the first African American to serve as U.S. Secretary of Commerce. I served under President Bill Clinton. I am Ron Brown.
I was a Nobel Peace Prize winning academic and UN deployment. I was known for my peacekeeping in the Middle East, Africa, and the Mediterranean. I was the first African American to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. I am Ralph Bunche.
I was the first major party African American candidate to run nationwide primary campaigns. I ran in 1984 and 1988. I am Jesse Jackson.
I was the first African American to serve as state governor. I was also a publisher and a state senator. I was state governor for 36 days from December 9th, 1872 to January 19th, 1873. While the governor was going through impeachment proceeding. I am PBS Pinchback.
I was the first African American woman to hold a cabinet position. I was also the first African American woman to serve as U.S. ambassador and lead in law school in 1969. I am Patricia Baptist Harrison.
I was the nation's first African-American Secretary of State, serving from 2001 to 2004 under President George W. Bush. I am Colin Powell.
I became the nation's first African-American cabinet member when President Lyndon B. Johnson appointed me Secretary of Housing and Urban Development in 1966. I am Robert C. Beaver.
I was the first African-American woman to be Secretary of State, serving under President George W. Bush. I am Condoleezza Rice.
I became the first African-American Congresswoman in 1969. I made history again when I became the first African-American to be a major party candidate for president, running in the Democratic nomination in 1972. I am Shirley Chisholm.
I was the first African-American elected to be a major mayor in Cleveland in 1967. I am Carl Stokes.
I was the first African-American woman to be elected to the U.S. Senate in 1992. I am Kara Mosley Burns.
I was the first African-American woman and the first position unafforded to be elected to the American Medical Association Board of Trustees in 1995. I later worked as a Surgeon General under President Barack Obama. I am Regina Benjamin.
I was the first black woman to run for Congress in Alabama. I was a civil rights voter, pioneer who fought for voting rights for African Americans and was brutally beaten for helping lead the 1965 Selma, Alabama march that was known as Bloody Sunday. I am Amelia Robertson.
I want to see in the Texas State Senate becoming the first African-American woman to do so. In 1972, my fellow lawmakers voted me in as President Pro Tempore of State Senate. I was the first black woman to hold post. I am Barbara Jordan.
I became the first African-American Republican congressman from the South since the post-Civil War Reconstruction and representing South Carolina's first congressional district. I am Tim Steele.
I was the 44th President of the United States and the first African-American president selected into the office. I was selected in 2008 and served the second term in 2012. I am Barack Obama.
Let's hear it for Lee Central Middle School.
Uncle Sam. I am a national symbol of the United States. The Constitution is the supreme law of the United States.
The 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution states that the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
The 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution granted African American men the right to vote. Although ratified on February 3, 1870, the promise of the 15th Amendment would not be fully realized until almost a century. Through the use of poll taxes, literacy tests, and other means, southern states were able to effectively disenfranchise African Americans. It would take the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 before the majority of African Americans in the South were registered to vote.
With the passage of the 15th Amendment, many great African American politicians have made their mark on shaping American history and public policy.
The 15th Amendment made a way for us to become politicians when our backs are against the wall and it looked as if it was over. And we're standing here only because the 15th Amendment made a way.
Made a way. Don't know how, but you did it. Made a way.
Standing here, not knowing how we'll get through this test, but holding on to faith you know best. Nothing can catch you by surprise. You got this figured out. They're watching us now. But when it looks as if we can win, you wrap us in your arms and step in. And everything we need you supply. You got this figured out. And now you know that you made a way. When our backs were against the wall, and it looked as if it was over, you made a way. And we're standing here only because you made a way.
1870, Hiram Revels, a Republican from Mississippi, becomes the first African American to be seated in the United States Senate. He serves 1 year, filling a seat left vacant when Mississippi seceded from the United States. 1870, Joseph Raley, a Republican from South Carolina, becomes the first African American elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. 1872, Victoria Wahab becomes the first woman presidential candidate. Her running mate, Frederick Douglass, is the first African American vice presidential candidate. 1874, Blanche Bruce, a Republican from Mississippi, is the first African American elected to a full 6-year term in the Senate. 1890 to 1910, many southern state legislators adopt new state constitutions and enacted laws that raise barriers to voter registration. 1952, Charlotta Abas, nominated by the Progressive Party, becomes the first African American woman to run for vice president. 1968, a Democrat from New York, is the first African American woman elected to the House of Representatives. 1972, Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm becomes the first African American from a major political party to run for president. L. Douglas Wilder, a Democrat from Virginia, is the first African American to be elected governor in the United States. 1992, Carl Moseley Braun, a Democrat from Illinois, is the first African American woman elected to the Senate. Barack Obama is the first African American to win the presidency.
Y'all can do better than that. Let's hear it for Laurel Lee Elementary School. You move mountains. Somebody can have to make a sermon out of that one. I don't know. next performance will be from Lee Central High School, Home of the Stallion. The principal is Mr. Barron Turner. Their motto is be in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. And also, LCHS stands for Lead, Compete, Honor, and Succeed. Tonight, our announcer for tonight is Mr. Leah McCullough. She will be announcing the different parts for the high school performance. Let's hear it from Lee Central High School.
The Voting Rights Act of 1965 and events leading up to its formation. The landmark piece of legislation known as the Voting Rights Act of 1965 has been called one of the most expansive pieces of civil rights legislation in American history. It effectively removed all barriers that had prevented African Americans and other minorities from having their voices heard at the polls. The events that led to the formation of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 can be traced back to the years immediately following the Civil War. Our ancestors always fought for freedom and equality. It is through their blood, sweat, and tears that we enjoy freedom and equality. It is on their shoulders we stand to complete the great legacy that they have started. The 15th and 14th Amendments. Following the Civil War, the 14th and 15th Amendments were passed. The 14th Amendment granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including former slaves, and provided all citizens with equal protection under the laws, extending the provisions of the Bill of Rights to the states. Meanwhile, the 15th Amendment prohibited discrimination by states toward any voter on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Essentially, those two amendments were ratified with the idea of ending racial discrimination at the polls. However, it will be many years of long struggle to see it through. Circumvention of voter rights. Despite the ratification of the 14th and 15th Amendments, voting rights for African Americans and other minorities were still being circumvented. Laws known as the Jim Crow laws were a formal, codified system of racial bias that dominated the American South for 3/4 of a century beginning in the 1890s. The Jim Crow laws prevented black people from voting by imposing literacy tests, poll taxes, property ownership requirements, moral character tests, document interpretation tests, and in some cases the requirement that one's grandfather had voted.
following settings: voting, public accommodations, public facilities, public education, federally assisted programs, and employment. Bloody Sundays. On March 7, 1965, a group of African Americans marched into Salem, Alabama as a peaceful protest against voter suppression and was attacked by state troopers in what became known as Bloody Sunday. This series of events prompted Congress to draw up the Voting Rights Act, which President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law 5 days after the bill was introduced. Since the original passage of the act, there have been a number of revisions. The most recent was in 2013 when, in a controversial decision, the U.S. Supreme Court declared Section 5 of the act, which mandated certain states receive pre-approval from Congress before altering their voting laws, to be unconstitutional.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let
Despite opposition and turmoil, our ancestors continue to push forward for justice and equality. Our ancestors have passed the torch, and it is up to us to continue the legacy. It is through their blood, sweat, and tears that we enjoy freedom and equality. It is on their shoulders we stand to continue the great legacy that they have started. We dedicate this musical tribute to them. Thank you.
Let's hear it for the high school. Now, let's hear it and let's give all of our students a standing ovation for all they did today. Let's give them a standing ovation. You can do better than that. Come on now. We hope that you learned something interesting or a fact that you did not know from our performances. As we close Black History Month, let us not forget those who fought and died for our right to vote. And let us remain vigilant in the protection of our precious fundamental right, the right to vote. As the Lee Central Middle School and Lee Central High School Choir prepares for our Negro National Anthem, we call Dr. Wanda Andrews, our phenomenal leader, Superintendent of Lee County School District, for remarks.
I am just so proud this evening of our young people. All of our students just did an outstanding job tonight. And what a more, we couldn't have a more appropriate theme for the times that we're living in now. We need to be concerned about our right to vote and all of our rights. And we need to think about our past and what our ancestors fought for so we could be here this evening. I'm thankful to all of our teachers, our principals, our music educators, and just all that happened here tonight. The media literacy team, I'm thankful for you because we will get to see this again. And I want to let everyone know that while we are celebrating and hosting this event for African American Heritage, we study African American heritage in our schools every month. We do have a theme, and it continues. And I want our students to learn from their past and to know that they themselves will accomplish great things as they move on. So I thank you for coming out tonight and for joining us joining us for this celebration. And I certainly hope that you enjoyed it. Our kids are just amazing, and so are our teachers and administrators and counselors, and I'm just thankful and grateful to you.
Thank you, Dr. Andrews. You will see in the back of your program the Negro National Anthem. Please stand, join the combined choir as they sing the Negro National Anthem under the masterful direction of Mr. Jarvis Gent. And don't forget to go to the cafeteria for refreshments after the program. Thank you. God bless. Be safe. Join us in the cafeteria for our refreshments.